This video is brought to you by Melon, the #1 streaming platform in the world, and I actually use Melon to record this interview with Josh Richards. So easy to record. You just record it and it saves it in the cloud, which I love. Simple to use, but it's really a live streaming platform. You can go live simultaneously on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, or custom servers all at the same time. They've got these great themes to make your stream look amazing. So go check them out for free. Click the link in the description below. Thanks, Melon. Hey guys, welcome to the Tom Ward Show, where I interview the biggest influencers in the world. And today we have such a guest. We've got the man, Josh Richards. And Josh, we're here to talk business. We're not talking a lot of drama today. But the one thing I just have to get off my chest, and people want to know, future Sway. Let's get to that, and then we get to business.
All right, yeah. So the future of Sway, question I feel like I'm asked every other day. I think it's really up to all the boys kind of as a collective to see where that goes. Everyone's kind of going down in their own path right now. Everyone's really succeeding in their space or in their craft of what they're trying to do. So that's the coolest thing to me about Sway, is that we've all been able to really utilize that and leverage our followings and our social medias to really build up what we've always dreamed to do. If that's Bryce with like the PAU Club and Annie, or if that's me with more entrepreneurial stuff and venture fund, production company, or if that's Anthony with the modeling, like everyone's been able to leverage it and actually go into the world they've always dreamed of.
I mean, I think so too. I had to ask that question because everyone asked me to. Why do people ask you that question over and over again? I've heard you answer it. Like, you're not going to say anything new.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just because Sway was such a huge part of social media at the beginning of the blow up of TikTok, right? So many people, when they first were coming on this app, or even other, I believe, smaller creators, or kids that were younger than us, would often look at Sway's content as almost a model to how they can become successful. So if that was getting all their friends and creating a group and posting videos together, if that was, so I think it's part of people almost like with a boy band, like never wanting to see it break up, you know what I mean? But yeah, and then also at the same time, it was just
who's Timberlake? Are you Justin? Are you Timberlake in this situation?
Breakout star? I guess we both have a J name, so I guess I'll take the Justin Timberlake.
Well, listen, we did this 6 months ago, and we talked about N.H.L, a couple other smaller startups you were involved in, plus your Triller partnership. But since then, I got to look at notes because you have so much shit going on. Since then, you formed a production company with Mark Wahlberg. You partnered with a premier marketing agency. You formed a $15 million venture capital fund with an amazing group. You have an NBA agency. You have a killer podcast with Dave Portnoy. And now you're an advisor to the N.H.L. That's an insane resume in 6 months.
Yeah, no, it's been a crazy 6 months. I mean, I think we've talked about this a little bit before, but I really do just look at everything like I have lightning in the bottle, and that's like one of those phrases that I'm always caught saying, but it's the best phrase I could use for my situation I'm in. I've been blessed with an opportunity to make the most of what I have, if that's like leveraging my following or being 19 and out in LA and able to put myself in the positions of getting in these meetings or talking with the N.H.L. Like I gotta capitalize on those while I have that opportunity.
Well, how do you manage? How much time does that take? Is a lot of that stuff kind of, you know, they're doing it to attach your name to a project? Or are you really getting in? Like, let's talk about the venture capital fund. You know, you mentioned before you guys had to go through like 400 deals to get 12 deals that you actually settled with. Like, how involved are you? Are you actually sitting with these guys and going through every deal, or do they kind of filter it and show you the best ones and want your opinion? Like, how does it work?
Yeah, so a lot of the times I go on every single call with any founder that we tend to invest in. If we're invested in a company, I've done a call with them. And then at the same time, there's a lot of times I'll go on calls with companies that we don't end up investing in, or me and Marshall's the head of the venture fund. He'll do calls with me and run me down the list, or if it's me getting involved, like you said, actually in doing those calls, because that's what I love to do. I mean, that's how we really set ourselves up so that we knew we were ready to have a venture fund. It was 6 months of angel investing and getting on the call with different venture capitalists and venture funds and angel investors and angel investing ourselves and sharing deal flow, getting their Rolodex. And it was a long process of learning until we really felt we had the knowledge to open up a venture fund. But it definitely was a process, and they always are. If that's the deal with the N.H.L. or my deal with Dave Portnoy, I mean, it's always something that gets put into talks for a few months, and then we end up figuring it out and finally being able to launch it, like I said, a couple months after we start the talk.
Bryce and Gruen have been fighting, and it's kind of entertaining on Twitter watching them go back and forth. But the one thing Bryce had, like the one knock that I really thought about it at Gruen is, he goes, Gruen, you've got us on all these pointless calls all day long, and they don't go anywhere. But I know Gruen pretty well, and I've interviewed you once, and you just said it. We're on these calls with companies we may not invest with. I like to do it. It sounds like you're just putting in the work, and there isn't always necessarily, a result of it. It may just be a call to make a connection, and is that it? So I guess my question to you, are those calls a waste of time or no?
No, not at all. I mean, a lot of times what ends up happening with these calls is, you're right, something might never come from it, right? I could go into a meeting with someone or a dinner, and maybe there's nothing that ever comes from it. But worst comes to worst, I have a friend in that space now, whatever space they work in. If that's maybe them working at Snapchat, or maybe they have a cryptocurrency, or maybe whatever it is. Right now, I'm just that much more connected in that one space. At the same time, a lot of the dinners I've went to, nothing ends up coming to be until months and months and months down the road. So one of the first dinners the first dinner I believe I ever did, nothing, came from that dinner in a deal point of view until probably 6-7 months later, but they were the lead investor in N.H.L. So it was like, maybe, you know what, that dinner felt useless for 6 months, let's say, right? Or someone could point at that dinner and say, nothing came from it. But you waited another month till that 7 months, something did come from it, right? So it's hit and miss. Sometimes they work out. Sometimes it's an amazing vibe. Sometimes you really find something to work on. Sometimes you don't. But you're never going to find that if you're just sitting at the house doing nothing.
And that's good advice too, because your younger fans are watching this. For them, I mean, obviously they're not going to connect with, the level of people, the Winklevosses, the average person watching this will never connect with them, but they can connect with people in the industry they're in, or an industry they want to get into. And it could be a simple coffee, and you're not, you don't get a job out of it. Nothing happens, they don't hire you, but it's a connection that, who knows, 6 months or 2 years down the road.
Maybe there's an internship then that opens there 6 months later, and you had a great lunch with this guy that's looking at all the internship papers, and then a paper comes across his desk, notices your name, and was like, actually, let's hire this one, just because I had a breakfast with them and I really liked them at that breakfast. They carried themselves, they presented themselves well. We're picking that one. Like, you never know when it's going to end up paying off.
No, that's great advice. And I knew Griffin a little bit. We did a podcast together for a while, and just the schedule, and I'm sure yours is the same way, with his assistant, it's like, and Griffin would say, okay, I only have 1 hour, and then immediately, I'm sure you do too, at the top of the hour, I got something else.
Yeah.
It was all day. Is yours, schedule like that? And if so, how do you fit content into it?
Yeah, no, my schedule is pretty booked. It's usually every 30 minutes on my calendar from about 9:30 until 6, 7, and then we'll do a dinner. It's like booked up with something. There's always something going on. But it's a combination of actually using my content or utilizing what I do outside of my content and turn that into content, right? So if I'm traveling for a sports event like I did with the N.H.L., while I'm down there, I'm able to film a certain amount of TikToks that are just going to be good content, or I have my videographer follow me around, so it's not like I'm having to think about every time I should be shooting this video. It's kind of more of a follow doc of Josh Richards that's just following me wherever I go, and that kind of helps me save time. But it's just about optimizing what I do. So it's just trying to make those 30-minute slots really, really count. And that 10-minute break, make sure that's only a 10-minute break. That doesn't turn into a 20-minute break, because like I just don't have time for that.
Wow, I think that's good for people to see, because it's easy to look at you and you just go, okay, the kid makes a couple TikToks a day. He's hanging out. He's out there dating. He's going to whatever the hot nightclub is that night, going to dinner, at Catch, wherever. But they don't see that behind the scenes that, hey, this shit's every day. The TikToks are just a small part of it. And it's interesting to see kind of your evolution. It doesn't sound like anymore, hey, what's the current trend? What's the current dance? I'll do that. I know it'll get a bunch of views. It's cool that now it's kind of like we're along for the ride. Where's Josh now? He's in Miami. Let's see what's going on in Miami right now. That's kind of a cool, I think it's cooler than just seeing you do a trend. Because
100%. I mean, I like, right? When I'm able to actually just show my real life, it's like, oh, now you guys are actually seeing what I do. You guys are seeing who I am, instead of this stupid dance in front of a camera for 15 seconds while I'm trying to look pretty. Like that doesn't really do much.
How do you do your hair? That was a huge question. Looking pretty.
How do I do my hair? I usually get out of the shower and then just like with a towel until it's like as dry as it can be, and then I kind of just like style it, I guess. I don't know. I just like put my fingers to it. It's pretty simple.
It was just a random question. And this is the kind of shit. This is the kind of shit that people really want to know. I'm interested in the business stuff, but you got to mix these questions in. I saw a great quote, and it had to blow you away. I am impressed with Josh and all the things he's already accomplished. Mark Wahlberg. Like,
yeah.
What does that feel like?
Yeah. I mean, it's like a dream come true, really. I don't know how to word it any other way. I think when I look at who I look up to, at least, or who I've looked up throughout my life, Mark Wahlberg is right at the top of the list. And I've said this in interviews before, but his ability to pivot, going from Marky Mark to the Calvin Klein model, to getting in Boogie Nights and starting to act, and then going from being an actor to an entrepreneur as well. It's kind of the exact route I believe I want to go on. And I think when you look at what the, I guess, Calvin Klein model and musician that was like getting sexualized, it's a lot similar to the TikTokers of today's generation, right? Yeah. So I think that when I look at his career path and where he went, it's been my inspiration for where I want to go. So to have someone that you've looked up to your whole life say something along the lines of just like believing in you and being proud of what you've done is, I mean, there's not much more you can ask for, you know what I'm saying? And
putting his money where his mouth is, you know. How did that collaboration even come to be?
Yeah, so Michael had known Archie Gibbs, who works over at Unrealistic Ideas, which is Mark's production company. And then we got in contact with him, and I was just explaining how I'm such a huge fan of Mark and would love to work with him. And Michael was doing what Michael does and just networks and kills it in the calls. And then we ended up working on a deal of having a production company together. So it was really just from getting on those calls, those pointless calls, and making something happen out of nothing, you know, out of that pointlessness.
It's incredible. And Gruen has a special ability to make something happen out of nothing.
Oh, 100%. Those the right people to bring into the room, right? It's just sometimes about getting that right group of people where everyone's picking at each other's brains, and then something comes out that you never expected.
Well, you look at, you know, back to Animal Capital, we're jumping around, but you talk about teams. Rich Miner, the founder of Android, the Winklevosses, who everyone should know, Bitcoin billionaires, Facebook guys, Kevin Mayer, the CEO of TikTok, Sean Rad, the founder of Tinder. That's a pretty badass team.
Yeah, no, we have some amazing people a part of the fund. Just to have their beliefs in us is crazy, and I think a lot of people don't understand what a responsibility it is when you're taking someone's money, right? That's a huge huge responsibility, because your day isn't about, oh, what am I going to go try to make money off of now, or what am I going to go and invest? It's how am I going to make these people that have put their trust and cash into my hands, how am I going to make those people rich, right? Because I got to be working for those people. I got to figure out how I can make sure I get onto fund 2, and then fund 3, fund 4, fund 5. And I want all those people that are involved in this fund in my next one, because it is such a great list. So it just becomes, it's like a quote I have tattooed on my arm. It's a quote my dad always told me as a kid. It's just, with great power comes great responsibility. And you need to realize what you're signing up for when you're doing something like taking on $15 million.
You know, and it's really good to see you as a creator kind of setting an example, because you look at some of them, you know, TikTok, quote unquote, stars pumping fake crypto that they're getting a large cut of, that is bullshit, and everyone's gonna lose money on it, and they know that, and they pump it anyway. Yeah. We go, what the fuck are you doing to your followers, bro? What are you doing?
It is a tricky situation, because I think there are some influencers that just don't educate themselves on sometimes the situations they put themselves in. Like when they're doing these brand deals, they don't actually look at the contract. So they see that dollar amount and they're just like, oh, hell yeah. Right? And this is what we're seeing with social gloves right now. Kids obviously didn't read the contracts very well because no one's getting paid. So it's something that happens a lot on social media, and it's super unfortunate because a lot of these kids get taken advantage of when they don't know any better, or they don't have a team around them that is trying to help them out. And it does just create that fake cryptocurrency stuff where someone's going and pumping a coin and they think, oh, I'm just getting posted for a brand deal really quick. I'm making 30 to 40K off this post. And then they also said that I own whatever of this coin, and as the coin goes up, I'll make money too. Like, that's awesome. It sounds like everyone's winning. My fans' money will goes up. Like, that's how they think, and that's how the people definitely try to pitch it to them too. But they don't realize that they're getting involved in a pump and dump. Like that is some shady stuff right there.
Yeah, it is shady. And speaking of shady, the social glove stuff, I've been in business my whole life, and nothing drives me crazier than people who don't pay vendors or their employees. When people have to fight to get their paycheck, or vendors don't get paid and have to take them to court to get something, and all that fucking shit that comes along with it. Austin McBroom, this was his deal, right? I mean, what the fuck? And then now people are coming out like, yeah, I did editing for him, I never got paid. I did this work at his house and I never got paid. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it kind of like I said, I think that when you're going to take on the responsibility of, like, he put so many people's lives on hold, right? It wasn't just, oh, come out for this one night. It was, take 6 months from whatever you're doing right now. If you're a part of a company, if you're working on your social media, if you are trying to expand into acting, modeling, whatever. Take those 6 months. I'm going to pay you this lump sum of money, this crazy amount of cash, so it makes it worth it, right? So in your head, you're like, oh, okay, this can go to the back burner for 6 months. I can take a little bit of a break. Then you don't get paid at all, right? So now all these people that might have had things already in the works, or maybe they had a company they should have been working with, or maybe they had just even their social media to grow, or their brand to grow in a different light. Now they're stuck with all these bad rumors about their event. Now they're all stuck with not being paid. Now they're going to have to go through legal trouble, or maybe they won't ever get paid at all. So it's just something I don't like to see. I mean, it's partly why we started Talent X way back when, was because I continued to see my friends and others get taken advantage of in the social media space, just from contracts not being read properly, or not having your lawyers get involved, or just not listening to your team, whatever it is. But it makes me pissed. Like, I want to see all those people get paid. I don't want to see no one get paid. They put on an event, they put on a show, they went out there, they fought. You know what I mean? Like, they did everything they were supposed to do, and it got a ton of views, it got a ton of impressions. That just people were live streaming it for free. Like, no one was paying for the event; they were just live streaming it for free. So it is a super unfortunate situation.
Yeah, and not only You're right. Think of all the brand deals they passed up and all this, and
Yep.
just time. Like I've boxed for years, and I understand what goes into that. To really train for a fight, I never fought like a professional fight, but
No, but it's still
to prepare for it, it's all day, every single day. Your diet, your training, your rehab, the injuries, all of that for what? That is
now
bullshit.
nothing. Like I would have died. Like I get doing that for $5 million.
Yeah.
Trust me, I get it. But it's just so unfortunate. Like it literally is so unfortunate that these kids had to go through that entire experience and then have it end with not getting paid. It's too bad.
Yeah. You mentioned like you are creator first, and it's easy to go, okay, Josh Richards, and the number seems low. Forbes said $1 million last year. I think it's more. I gotta get with Gruen and get a couple drinks in him and find out the real number. Easy to say, Josh is killing. You could be focused on what your next car is, but you're also looking out and setting an example for other creators, because look at what you've done, and Sway and Michael. So you went from doing some brand deals on TikTok, like the Reebok one's a great example, but it wasn't a brand deal. It was more of a collaboration, a group thing. Is this company on board? Is this a product I like? Can we create content that, is organic and isn't forced? To, I don't want to make Reebok money. I don't want to make any brand money. I want to make money for my own brands. So let's get involved in these startups. Let's start building our own brands, Annie Energy and stuff like that.
Yep.
Then you even take it a step further and go, wait a minute. I want to manage a lot of these. I want to get a lot of these startups together. Let's get a VC fund going. It's incredible.
Yeah, and I mean, we love to do things that people wouldn't expect, right? No one's going to expect a 19-year-old kid to be managing $15 million at a venture fund that's a social media influencer. And then at the same time, everyone thinks, oh, social media influencers, they're gonna go and grab a brand deal from this brand, that brand, and that's going to be all over their feed. Instead of doing these brand deals, now we represent the brands. We have a Gen Z marketing agency, right? Like we're helping these brands reach that Gen Z audience on the back end. So we're helping them out with any strategy they need. So just to continue with the same with Dave Portnoy, that podcast, no one expected that. Same with the N.H.L. advisory deal, or special advisor to the N.H.L. No one expects a lot of the moves we make, and that's what we love doing, is keeping people on their toes. Like if we don't make it, what we like to say here is, if we aren't making people say what the fuck, then we probably didn't do a big enough of a move. So every single time we do something, we want that reaction. Same with the Mark Wahlberg production company. Like everyone's kind of just like sitting in their seats and they're just like, how does this keep happening? Like how is it going to the next? And it's just because we don't stop. We just grind. Every single day you wake up and it's a mindset.
Dude, I love it. And that is great advice for your fans watching. He's not sitting back. He's getting up every day and grinding. Look, I'm a small creator. Today's the 4th. Everybody's celebrating the 4th. Everybody's off work. I'm scheduling an interview with Josh Richards that I want to do it and I want to create content. And when everyone else is off and hanging out and barbecuing, we're sitting here having a conversation and creating content. And that's what it's all about.
Yep.
I'm learning from you, Josh Richards.
I mean, it gives you that one up on people when you work on the days they all rest too. It's just now you're ahead.
Fuck yeah. Dude, talk about the podcast, because that's another one. You go, Dave Portnoy and Josh, like,
yeah.
I know Josh likes sports. Dave is kind of good because he's controversial. You guys are killing it. Like, what are the numbers? Do they measure it by downloads or streams? How do they, or listens?
I think I would have to get like a new update because it's been growing like exponentially. Like right now it's been through the craziest growth probably the last 2 to 3 months. But I know we were doing like over 2.5, I thought, or 2 million like views across all platforms, like per podcast. It was something crazy like that. Like, but that counts our YouTube though. That counts our YouTube. So I know some people on the podcast world don't look at that the same, but we've really made YouTube such a huge part of our podcast just because that's where a lot of our demographic lives, and they love the video side of it. They love the video side. So Yeah, it's a combination that's super. I guess you would say makes you go, what the fuck. I love Dave. He's been able to teach me a lot on the just hosting or more podcast talking, being confident when I'm in front of a mic, all of that. So I have a huge amount of respect for him and being like a part of the BFFs podcast with me, and I think we've been able to come a lot closer through the podcast. So that's been a lot of fun, just getting to actually hang out with that guy. But yeah, probably the most like fun I have every week is going and filming my BFS podcast.
Well, and to give the viewer a kind of a look into the financials, there is a ton of money in podcasts, more than YouTube, way more. And
Oh yeah.
I'll give you an example. A creator I know who you may not know, but has millions of followers, has a podcast, and
Yep.
they get about 250 to 300,000 listens or streams or whatever, downloads a show.
Wow.
They make 25 grand per episode for like 4 brand deals. So that's 100 grand a month. That's 1.2 million just on their podcast. And you heard what Josh just said. His numbers are way bigger than that. So imagine the kind of money him and Dave are making off this thing. It's crazy.
We're doing all right. Yeah, it's been a great pod. No, for sure. And trust me, Dave wouldn't keep the pod around if it wasn't doing well. He would just be like, all right, I'm out of here, man. I'm sorry. Peace.
That's wild. So what did we cover? We covered podcasts, the venture capital fund, Hawk Media. So that you mentioned that before. Hey, I got my fingers on the pulse of Gen Z. Let me get involved. Let me help other companies who don't want to, companies we can't buy. Let's help them reach that audience too. Here's another way to attack. Like, talk about your partnership with Hawk.
Yeah, so Hawk Z. Like I was saying, it's a Gen Z marketing company. We're going to help these brands try to reach that younger audience that they might not be so in touch with anymore if they're an older company that's been around for a while, or if it's a company that originally went out targeting demographics of 35 to 50 maybe, and now they're ready to roll out a plan where they want to start reaching 18 to 24. So it's helping these companies reach a total different demo. It's helping them with different marketing strategies if that's on TikTok or Instagram or wherever, what platform it is. But it's just aiding these companies in reaching Gen Z.
And that's what you deliver. And do you think, like, as you get older, I see this happening, as you get older, any creator wants their audience to age with them. What the
100%.
worst is, I know creators who have, say, a younger, like 12 to 14-year-old demo, and now they're 30, but that demo is the same. So they can't be authentic and share like, hey, I got fucked up last night. I shouldn't have, stuff that's really going on. They can't share to that audience. So that's limiting. Is your audience growing with you?
100%. 100%. And it was something I've been so, I guess, like, I've always focused on that. I've always focused on making sure my audience can grow up with me, but also that I'm touching into different demos. Like the Barstool podcast gives me a completely different fan base than my TikTok does, right? Because it's the same bringing and it's the same with Portnoy with my fans. He doesn't have that audience of females necessarily, and I don't have that audience of males. So when we were able to come to the pod, he would start coming up to me and telling me, he's like, Josh, I can always tell when it's a BFF fan that comes up because there'll just be this huge group of girls running up to me all like screaming, and that doesn't happen, man. Like that does not happen. And then it was the same for me now. It's like if I go out at night and I'm let's say I'm at a bar with some friends, or I'm just like out at a party one night, whatever it is. I used to not get, like, I could walk by a bar and no guy at that bar would know who I am. Not a chance in hell they know who I am, right? And then now it's every single one is stopping me and being like, yo, I love your podcast. I love the stuff you do with Barstool. And like, I get to have a conversation with these guys all the time. And I definitely try to always give longer conversations to people when I notice it's like, oh, this is a different demo than I typically see. I want to see what interests them. Like, why do they watch my stuff? Why do they watch my content? But it's just such a cool experience to see my fans and see the people that follow me grow up along with me and kind of expand into a larger demo.
What are you most proud of to get recognized for? Is it an interview like this where, man, I heard you talk business and I was blown away? Or is it, hey, man, I saw you on the podcast with Dave. I never knew, you were into that? Or like, what makes you most proud?
Right. So I think what makes me most proud is, actually, I know what makes me most proud is when I'm hearing something from outside of the world I'm usually in. So it's like, usually it's always, hey, I follow you on TikTok, right? And then it was really cool when I started getting the Barstool podcast stuff because I was different and that was just like, it's a different reaction. But I think what I'm most proud of is when people come up to me and they'll say, yo, I heard this podcast you went on, and I'm thinking it's about to be about BFS, and they're like, oh, it's this business podcast you went on. I really loved how you carried yourself. I want to learn more about financial literacy now because of you, and I started investing some of my money into Robinhood. It's like, that's the coolest thing because I'm actually hearing like, oh, I made an impact on someone's life in an educational way, and that's a huge part of my goal. So I think that's 100% what I'm most proud of.
Dude, and it's funny. Even me made me step up my investment game. Griff and I interviewed Tyler Winklevoss, and we're talking about Bitcoin. I didn't own any at the time, and I think it was 18 grand. Right.
Oh, so you're chilling if you got it then.
Oh yeah. But the reason I did was because I guess Bryce interviewed him like 6 months ahead before. Yeah. It was like at 10, and he didn't buy, and Tyler told him to buy. So I go, fuck that. That's not going to happen to me. I'm not. Yeah,
I ain't fucking around with that.
I'm not fucking around.
Bye.
Tyler tells me to buy. I'm fucking buying it.
Yeah, I'd probably listen to him too. I think he knows what he's talking about when it comes to crypto.
Yeah, so you guys really are educating people. I respect your time. We only got about 10 minutes left. We talk finances. You got a younger demo. Probably older people are watching this too. We don't have deal flow. I don't have deal flow. No one's coming to me to, invest in or start an energy drink company or anything like that. What can normal people like me and us, the people watching, do to kind of be a Josh Richards someday financially?
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can invest without investing into like pre-series rounds or like a Series A, Series B. Early in a company, you can go and work with stocks, right? And that there's a lot of platforms like Robinhood that allows you to do it quite easily and really pay attention and track what you're doing. But I think the biggest thing is first, like actually educating yourself. If that's going with a financial advisor and start learning from them or have them help you along the path at the beginning. If that's you reaching out and actually just cold emailing someone that's in the world, right? Someone that's an angel investor, someone that is a part of a fund. If you just cold email, you'll be surprised how many people are going to answer you if you actually just want to learn from them and you're not asking them for money or you're not asking them for something more than just time and advice. Like a lot of people love being able to teach, and that's how we've been able to make a lot of our connections is just from reaching out to people outside of our world and them being interested because they're thinking to themselves, oh, usually I get hit up and asked for money. Usually I get hit up and they want something from me. Well, here they just want to learn. And I think that's just something that has a huge amount of value, the cold emails that people don't realize. So you can also just reach out to people. Social media is a massive space. So it connects people so easily. Use it, right?
Pause on that real quick and the cold email, I agree. I think that's a great takeaway from this, but you have to do it right. Even me, I get DMs all the time that say, hey, what's up? Would love to connect. And I never respond to them because it's like, I'm busy. I don't necessarily want to connect. You're not giving me a reason. But a good example is I've got an intern who helps me with TikToks, and she said, hey, look, I want to learn about podcasting and how to interview people. I can help you. I've got a huge following on TikTok. I can help you make TikToks. You can grow your audience over there. And here's an example from the Josh Richards interview you did. And I was like, holy fuck. And I immediately responded to her.
I mean, especially when you have something to offer someone. If you can go to someone in a cold email and give them something, like you are able to help them in this sense or another. It definitely shocks a lot of people because, like I said, a lot of professionals in their space get hit up, especially in the investing space, get hit up for money. So when there's something like you're actually giving them something instead of someone asking for something for themselves, it's a huge, I would say, just kind of a mindfuck for those people that are used to always having the opposite. And I think that just has, it just has a huge amount of value.
I completely agree. Well, dude, thank you for doing this again. We had technical difficulties last week, but we did this for 2 hours now, and I think this was better than the first time anyway.
I think we got it. I think we killed it. I think we
killed it, bro. You know podcast, so I got your endorsement. What else you promoting, man? BFF podcast. What else?
BFFs, you already know. This merch isn't released, but it's on me. So, anyways, BFFs podcast. That's the move. Look out for the NBA Sports Agency and Anti Energy just releasing 4-packs. So there's that as well.
Guys, Josh, thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching. We do this every Thursday, interviews with the biggest influencers in the world. Check it out. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any. Josh, it's been a pleasure, brother. Thanks for doing it.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
All right, buddy.
Peace.
Peace.